Did I miss anything major, Pat?
No.
Okay, good. So now I would like the judges to tell us 30 seconds or so. Tell us who you are, what you're representing, some of your experience, and how to reach out to you on your favorite social media platform. So if I was doing it for myself, I would say, hi, I'm Alex Fair. I run MedStarter Ventures and medstarter.com. You can find me pretty much anywhere as Alex B. Fair, B as in boy, and also as like a sentence telling you what to do. Also as MedStarter. But of course, MedStarter isn't just me, it's Pat and everybody else in the world. My favorite color is orange. So, okay. Anybody else want to introduce themselves? Make sure you click the mute button, unmute button to unmute yourself first. And I'm gonna take my screen off sharing so you can see the person talking.
All right, so Eugene, Alex referred to me earlier. So I was the culprit that started the second Health 2.0 chapter after Matthews itself in New York City ages ago. Serial entrepreneur, spent close to 20 years now in health and health tech, and just exited big pharma after 3.5 years, and now chairman of Your Coach Health, another startup in health coaching space.
And also our next investment. He's also leading the dance off later in the break. So.
Yeah, blind leading the blind.
Oh, and for all the Pat Herds out there, I think that's you, Dr. Nazareth. You can click on yourself, hi Sam, and you can change your name to what it actually is.
Yeah, there's only one Pat Herd in this town.
There's only one Pat Herd allowed, and it's over there. It's him. This guy. Maintaining my social distancing. Anyway.
I will go next as I'm the female Patrick Herd. I will change my name. I'm Samantha Nazareth, as Alex Fair has graciously introduced me. I am a gastroenterologist, and I've worked in various settings, hospitals, surgical centers, private practice, you name it. And on the tech side, I've also been focused on some efforts on that end as Chief Medical Officer of MedMe. And MedMe is a company, I describe it as a data company, and it really is focused on maintaining an individual's privacy and data sharing. That's our for-profit arm, and the nonprofit arm is the Internet Foundation, which is about maintaining ethical data standards.
Thanks, Sam. Paulo? You're on mute. There you go.
Hi, everybody. Paulo Machado. Been in healthcare for over 25 years. Before that, was in the financial world. Before that, crashed. Had a blast. I've been having a blast for these last 12 years, specifically focused on digital health and startups and helping companies do great product development, design, and commercialization to improve health and well-being. Nice to meet you all.
Fantastic. Who else is judging? Heather. So Heather works with us at MedStarter Ventures. She's our timer today, but she also handles investor relations and so many things. Say hi, Heather.
Hi, guys. I'll be the timer. I'll try to be nice. I'll just say thank you. One last question. Thank you when we get closer to the end of 3 minutes.
Okay. She's underselling herself, but okay, that's typical. Aline, tell us a little about you.
I am Aline. I'm based in Barcelona, Spain. I run the Health 2.0 Barcelona chapter. I'm also a digital health consultant. I mainly work with startups. I help them grow. I also build an ecosystem. And I spend, a lot of time in Europe and with a lot of connection in the US as well.
That's fantastic. Who else do we have here? Hey, George, you want to say hi from London? George is one of our LPs, one of our investors in the fund. He's getting more and more involved in all of our many activities. He's an attorney by training. We grew up together, and he's just one of our favorite people.
Hey guys, how you doing? Nice to meet everybody. I got my camera off because it's a little dark here at the moment.
Are you going to dance with us? That's the important question.
And I spent half my day on the phone. Yeah, spent half my day on the phone with John, Alex. So nice to meet everybody.
Me too. I think everybody spends half their day on the phone with John. John's my brother. He might be here later, and my partner. Okay, who else do we have here? I see 2 more Patrick Herds that are not showing themselves. Did you just send the Patrick Herd link to the judges,
Yeah,
Or-
it's everybody.
I sent it to all the panelists and judges.
Mhm.
Okay. Dave Napier, Dave's a judge too, right?
No, I think he's.
I got to go look at my
Need
judge
help.
list. Okay. So we actually have a lot of judges from the current slide. I got to share my screen again. Let's see. Anybody else
Dave
here?
Napper is New Era Health Care.
Okay, good. Yeah, I knew I recognized the name. So Ivy didn't make it this week. We got Sam. So we have a quorum. We have many of our judges. Sunita's on her way. And of course, we'll send the video out to other people by the time we're going down the due diligence road. But I think we have enough people who we trust to tell us what they think of the companies. We also, once again, ask all the audience members to follow that link to the judging form, which you can see in the chat box. Are you copying that every once in a while?
I just sent it.
Every 10 minutes or so, Pat's going to copy that in or more. Does anybody have any questions before we start the pitches? Do you guys all know your roles here? Okay, so each team is going to have 3 minutes to tell us their story and how it relates to COVID. And then the judges are going to get 3 minutes for Q&A. And during that period, they'll still have access to their deck. In the last minute of the Q&A period, Pat's going to set up the next deck for the next presenter. Now, Pat is in most cases going to be controlling. So if you're a presenter, you got to say next when you want the next slide or the next animation or whatever it is that's happening next. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. Okay, so before we go though, I'm curious who the other two Patrick Herds are. Can you guys introduce yourselves? Do you know who I'm talking about? If you look at the screen, so can I ping whoever they are? Chat, if I can chat with this person. I don't know.
Well, should I kick them if they're not gonna?
No, I don't know. I mean, they're filling out the forms. That definitely helps. So anyway, okay. So without further ado, I think we should get going. So our first contestant, let me go look at my judging form, is, I believe, Joshua, right? From Health Note. Do you have his deck up? So that's
Joshua's here if they want to do it.
Ready to go
well,
whenever you are.
Ready to go, Josh.
share your screen, Josh. Don't leave us in suspense. I know you have to allow him to share his screen.
No, he can do it.
Okay. So does everybody see Josh's screen?
Yeah, we see it.
They see it? I don't see it.
We're good?
We're not good because I'm not ready yet. Okay, there we go. Okay, so timer ready?
Yeah, she
That-
said yes.
Okay, sorry.
She's on mute, so she did like a thumbs up.
Okay. Take it away.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Joshua Reicher. My background's in internal medicine, and HealthNote's goal is really to be on a mission to eliminate manual data entry for providers of healthcare. Today, I'm going to talk about what we're doing to help reduce ER and really healthcare burden during the COVID-19 crisis. So we know the problem is there are over 100,000 cases of COVID-19. There's not enough PPE for providers, that's personal protective equipment. There's a high rate of transmission, and healthcare workers and patients are at very high risk of transmitting the disease. The goals in the ER and around the healthcare system are to minimize transmission, improve screening, reduce patient viral transmission, and reduce nosocomial or hospital-acquired infections. So HealthNote's a platform that screens, collects, documents, and triages patient data before an encounter happens. So the way we do this is we automatically ask and document questions that a doctor would normally ask. So if someone's coming in with a headache, we're gonna ask scale of 1 to 10, how bad is it? What makes it better? What makes it worse? What medications you've been on? And so we actually write the whole note before the patient comes into the office. We're live at hospitals and clinics around the country, including top 10 hospitals. Right here, you can see a demo. If anyone knows how to use a QR code, you can take a picture of this with your phone and you can actually use the product. I also sent a link to the demo in the chat. I'm not sure if it's still going through right now.
It is.
It is great. And so we have 3 ways of directing patients. So if you can imagine going into the emergency room, a patient will see something like this, going to the emergency center, go to this website and this QR code, which you again can take a picture of and it will work. And so all that information shows up for the providers. So here's the healthcare staff website login view. So you can imagine sort of like TSA pre-check. We know based on what questions and what answers patients write, whether someone needs a mask or whether they have a positive or negative screen. And this is all completely customizable to the institution itself. The goal really is to minimize exposure. And so on the right side, a physician's note is created. And so this saves an extraordinary amount of time in the whole process. So essentially, healthcare providers can see more patients. Right now, we see about 1,200 patients a day with our system. We started testing the COVID-related system on March 19th, and our COVID-related system is a non-integrated platform, so we can have a hospital or clinic up and running in under an hour. We do have very well integrated solution that is connected with Epic and Cerner, Athena Health, and multiple other EMRs, but those obviously take a little bit longer because they're completely integrated. With non-integration, we can have you up and running in less than an hour. So the general impressions that we received from staff was that it was extremely supportive, it was really self-explanatory, easy to follow, we'll cut down in time, and essentially let's do this now. So I don't know if anyone has started filling this out, but if they have, we can see in real time the notes that are being created.
Okay, that's 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, so I did try it out myself, and it's pretty cool. Judges, do you guys have questions? Also, the audience, Pat's gonna screen the questions coming in from the audience, and we'll ask the questions if we have time. And at the very least, we'll send them on to the innovator. You should keep your screen shared for a second,
Sure.
in case you want to show more stuff. Okay, so you got 3 minutes for Q&A, and then I'm going to ask the judges to please make sure you fill out the scorecard form. And not just the judges, everybody. Okay, but especially the judges. Okay, go ahead.
Joshua, it's Samantha. How are you? This is great. I personally know the burden of typing. Have you thought about how you plan on expanding beyond triaging in an ER?
Oh, so we are working with 15 different specialties. We're in multiple different hospitals and clinics. The ER was just an example to show what we're doing with COVID-19. We're already live with specialty and non-specialty clinics. For specialty clinics, for example, we're live with a urology group. For them, they wanted to know who's coming in and has potentially positive symptoms. For our system, we don't just ask COVID-19 related questions. We will ask all of the questions that are relevant to that specialty. So we actually have tens of thousands of different algorithms that this can go down. We have different questionnaires, whether it's a new visit, a follow-up visit, et cetera. We are have a completely bi-directional interface with the EMR. So when you come in again, we know what you've answered beforehand. So imagine a medication reconciliation. We have all that medication in there in our system. And then we can show that to the patient and they can say, yes, I'm taking this, no, I'm not taking this, things like that. So our system is much more robust than what I'm showing. I was just sort of focusing on what we're doing in the ER.
And it sounds like it's customizable if you've expanded to other specialties. So any specialty can tell you what questions are really important. And what is the cost to the subscriber?
So for COVID-19 and this non-integrated platform, we're giving it away for free.
That's nice.
Okay, so any other judges?
I got one on this E1.
For non-COVID, what's the business model? Sorry.
It's a per provider per month on smaller clinics. So we charge per provider per month. It totally depends on what EMR you have, et cetera. For large hospital systems, we have a sort of all you can eat price and also various different tiered pricing models.
So from this audience, what's your ask, Josh? Meaning you're looking for funding, you're looking for more customers?
We are looking for funding. We're actually in the middle of a fundraise right now. We would love to be able to just share this right now. What we're seeing is folks are really interested in trying this out for COVID-19, but we know the use case is far beyond that. And so for us, it would be great. We know that COVID-19 is the #1 focus for everyone right now, and we're seeing that this is making a huge difference. So we're happy to give this away for now and then talk about
Is there some
what we can do in the future.
summary
All right, last question.
Okay, Pat's got a question from the audience. Do you know who's asking it?
Anthony Stearns is asking,
No, we know Anthony.
okay. Is there some summary intelligence that can look at totals to react at department level?
Absolutely. There's an analytics view.
Okay, great. So thanks.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so judges, if you'll take a minute to fill out your form for Health Note. Heather, you can always take yourself off mute and just make sure they can hear the 30-second warning. Obviously, you know how to do all that. So great job. And normally I would say big round of applause and we would be clapping at this point, but I forgot to say that, but big round of applause. Anyway, good to see we can keep up our normal things with social distancing. So let's see, I'm gonna look at the judges if they look like they're intently working on their computers still. I think Paulo's reading his email. No, was that a swipe left or a swipe right?
I was completing your form you asked me to complete.
That's what I was trying to figure out. I was just making fun of you as I
I remember I'm an old trader. I've got multiple channels that are going simultaneously.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So do you have the second pitch deck up? And this is going to be, so anyway, so if you click next, you'll see that it's a Epigene channel with Enrique Gutierrez. Is Dr. Gutierrez on the line? Is he one of our many people listed as Patrick Hurd? Because I don't, oh, there he is,
No, he's
top right corner. Got it. Okay. So Enrique, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are you going to show his deck, Pat?
Yep.
Okay, good. There we go. Wow, that's a very wordy deck. So Pat, can you go full screen on that? Or?
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, this is a PDF, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so Fortitude. Okay, timer ready?
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Heather. Okay, take it away.
Okay. I'm a medical doctor with a background in allergy, immunology, and endocrinology, and I treat HIV patients that have HIV, plus they may have other diseases, other viral diseases as well. And they want the virus to be removed from their bodies. So I looked up in the literature and they found out that vanadium compounds have been shown to be virucidal against RNA viruses in general, including SARS coronavirus, dengue virus, influenza, parainfluenza, and HIV. There's numerous studies showing that vanadium compounds are extraordinarily effective at destroying these viruses. So I started using the vanadium compounds on patients. Many patients were also using it on their own. Unfortunately, I did not find the positive benefits that we're seeking for. So I realized I was going to have to combine it with another compound in order to facilitate cellular penetration.
Enrique, just a reminder, you only have 3 minutes.
Yeah. So I came up with a compound. It's a method and a composition of 2 compounds, and the compound is able to achieve extraordinary effects, whereas the reservoirs of the viruses are depleted out of the cells. Then the immune system, innate and adaptive immune system, are capable of disrupting and clearing the virus out. So the person continues to improve and become freer and freer of the virus, even after discontinuing the treatment, which in the slides, I claim that there's epigenetic benefits,
Yes,
modification. The patients, many of the patients were treated without any antivirals, some with antivirals, and in all these instances, there was benefit in terms of restoring the immune system. So the cellular immune system is restored. This has never been shown before. And so I was issued a patent in Europe, and I have a US patent pending. I also have an FDA. As you can see in this slide, you can see neutrophils going up quickly at the same time that the CD4-CD8 ratios go up, which is a reflection of depletion of provirus. These are the viruses that are inside, attached to the nucleus, which are the kind of viruses that you want to clear out of the body.
There's 30 seconds left.
Yeah, and also there's recovery of the bone marrow. The CD34 stem cells are restored, and many of the bone marrow stem cell lines are restored to normalcy. And this also has never been reported before, and there's no effective treatment to do this. So all of these effects that I'm claiming here are the result of observational data from human beings, and has never been ever reported in the medical literature.
Okay. So,
Thank you. 3 minutes. Thank
okay,
you.
so I'm going to start out the question with, so what would you like to do here? What's the ask? How can we help? I mean, obviously there's some interesting facts here we could go into about the medical information, but what are you trying to get us to do?
Well, I want to take this discovery further, and I need, I have an FDA approved, pre-approved clinical trial, and it requires toxicology studies in animals, which can be expensive.
Okay, so have you applied for a grant or anything, or you're applying to the general public? Are you doing a crowdfunding campaign? What are you doing?
Right
How
now,
can we help?
no, I'm not doing any grant funding campaign. I'm applying to a general public because I'm not affiliated to an academic institution. I'm an independent freestanding physician.
Okay.
So it's very difficult for us to apply for grants, but what I'm needing is funding, at least like $3 to $4 million, to get the toxicology studies on the animals done, which can cost anywhere between $500,000 and $1 million.
So why don't I guess my question is, this seems like a NIH grant funded kind of thing where you got to do a lot of the basic science first. I mean, it seems like you've had this idea for a bit. But you're not affiliated with any clinical institution. Have you tried going down that road, finding a collaborator in such places?
Well, it appears that most collaborators, they require funding. You know, basically, they won't talk to you unless you have the funding, you know, the sponsors. So basically what I want to do is do the toxicology in the animals and do the clinical trials. And then take, you know, basically I've been taking it to the next level by doing that.
Yeah, no, I used to be a clinical researcher. I know where you are. I'm not going to dominate all the questions. Are there any other questions for Dr. Gutierrez?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
This is Mark Rippin. I've done a lot of work with SBIR, TTR grants. Sometimes if you approach them with a grant in hand, and right now there's a whole 2 pages of grant opportunities listed for covert virus cures and things like that. You just go to them with that and say, let's co-apply for this grant here. And that's the way you can approach it. That way the money is there, and you guys both work on a project. They take the clinical side, you take the other side.
So Enrique, you don't have a lot of time here, but I want you to email Mark, M-A-R-C, at alertg, A-L-E-R-T-G-Y. And yes, I have everybody's email address memorized.com. And get more detail on that, because Mark is an expert at that. He also is one of our portfolio company CEOs.
They could probably message each other too.
All right, that's 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Since I dominated that one, if anybody has any more questions for Enrique, you can see in the judging form, his email address is there, so you can reach out to him directly. So thank you, Dr. Gutierrez. That was very interesting, informative, and it brought me back to my white blood cell days, which is, you know, so fun. Okay, so I'm gonna go fill out my judging form. This is why I don't usually do the judging during the event, because it's just distractible. very distracting to do this. You want to queue up the next deck?
I got it queued up, ready to go.
Okay, great. Okay, I am done judging. Let me see, is everybody else done judging? I see faces looking up. I see Aline, maybe, I guess what's in Paris or in Barcelona, it's now 10 o'clock. She might have fallen asleep. And the various Pat Herds. There you go. So incidentally, there's a number of CEOs of companies that we know really well and trust. So Lauren Wenger and Mark Rippon, you know, amazing entrepreneurs. You're more than welcome to ask questions. And of course, we always want your opinions. We actually, our CEOs are a very, very select group that we're very proud and happy to always get their input. And we, you know, get together all the time, so we know each other real well. Whenever we invest in a company, each team gets at least one MVP as their, you know, I don't know, what would you call us, Lauren? You know, the person they call whenever they need anything.
My ride or die. We'll go with
What
that.
do you call John? You know, he's like your security blanket.
Empathy buddy.
The
Empathy
good
buddy.
uncle.
And I do that for Mark. You know, when I first met Mark, his wearable was like the size of a refrigerator. And I said, this is great, Mark. I want one of those things, you know, but it's a lot smaller now. You'll hear more about that later. Okay, so do we have the next team up?
Yep, health mode.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Mind if I share my own deck here? It's been
Yeah, we got Bill
an
Fast.
evolving process. Good.
okay,
There we
Dan.
go. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Carlin. I'm a psychiatrist and addictionologist and a clinical informatician and the CEO of a company called Health Mode.
Hi, Dan.
Hi. Health Mode is entirely dedicated to digital measurement of clinical phenomenology. And so obviously there's some relevant phenomenology in our current world, which is cough, right? Cough is one of the sentinel symptoms of COVID. Fortunately, we've been working on cough for the last 18 months. We've got paper published in Digital Biomarker on our cough work. And over the past few weeks, we've been able to transition a lot of our pre-existing cough work to aim it at COVID. So why would we work on cough? Cough is obviously an important symptom in many respiratory illnesses and other illnesses, of course. And there's no real good way of objectively measuring cough. It just doesn't really exist in the world. So what we set out to do is to create a continuous, always on, highly granular cough counter, because cough counts are a valid regulatory endpoint. Now, as we saw COVID coming, what we did was transition that previous work to try to make our work more applicable to the crisis. So previously for clinical trials use, we use provisioned devices, this sort of thing. What we've created now is the ability to collect cough data and related clinical data using a number of different entry points. So right now, we have IRB approval for a direct dial access where you can just call a number and cough into the phone. You get an SMS text with a link to consent and a few more links to engage in some ePros. We also have a website where you can do the same thing. And we have authorization to use fixed point devices where we can place cough monitoring devices in public spaces, in ambulances, in waiting rooms, and in hospitals. So all of this IRB approved. That's actually consent waived, which is pretty unusual. We also have an app coming out. It's going a little slowly. We're working on getting it through the App Store, but we expect to have that processed and out in the public domain by next week. We also have IRB approval for that. Beyond COVID, the applications for cough counting are broad. It can be used in vaccine trials as a cue for swabbing, which is often the endpoint in vaccine trials. So it allows you to be more likely to pick up a positive swab when someone has got the thing you're trying to prevent them from getting. It's also the main clinical trial endpoint for cough medicines is cough counts. And so we've got a number of connections going to use the cough counter in clinical trials.
30
This
seconds.
is what what's that?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay, this is what the dashboard looks like when you look at the back end for someone who's using the cough counter and shows the reliability of data capture. We also get a daily cough frequency output in counting mode. And what we're doing right now is running this trial to get to cough characterization for the purpose of attempting to both characterize coughs as being likely the product of COVID or unlikely the product of COVID, and to try to anticipate and predict clinical course, see who's going to end up on a respirator or on a ventilator, intubated, this sort of thing. So that's the research project we're engaging in related to COVID.
Thank you.
Okay, judge questions.
This is Eugene. Dan, quick question. So prior to COVID, what was your target and how were you planning to make money? Because I mean, it's a great technology. I'm just questioning, is it a feature or a product, right?
Yeah, so in clinical trials for cough products, 24-hour cough count is the acceptable FDA regulated endpoint. So you have to show change versus placebo on 24-hour cough count. There's no good way to do that right now. It requires the only solution requires custom hardware, 2 clinic visits per 24-hour monitoring period. We can do the same thing with an iPhone in people's pockets continuously over multiple days. So in clinical trial revenue there, we have a pre-sub in with FDA, and we will get this cleared as a medical device so that it can be used in clinical practice, where there is currently no option for objective cough monitoring.
So Dan, great job. Curiosity, what about other people's cough?
We can differentiate between people, and we discovered that we could do that really well when a cough went around the office, and we could differentiate between people of the same age, gender, national origin, language, weight, really nice clustering around individuals.
So I want to know what you're doing with smart speakers, and I do kind of feel like there's a little Big Brother aspect of this.
Huge Big Brother aspect.
That, in some countries where, the more authoritarian, you might hook it up and then make people, I mean, this actually already happens in airports. Like my brother was going through the airport in Kazakhstan, he coughed and they put him in quarantine for 3 days.
Yeah. So your device is already listening to you. They're already spying on you. Well, we don't have access to smart speakers yet because smart speakers require wake words. What we could do right now is have you say, call the number, and you could cough and it would transition because it would call through the phone. We are in talks with the smart speaker maker about how to incorporate cough as a potential wake sound. What we've done to protect privacy is slice all the sound we capture into second-long intervals, slice it up, encrypt it in storage and in transmission, and then scramble it so that so a conversation couldn't be recapitulated. So we get 1 second intervals that then get all mixed up. So even if you did have a sensitive conversation, there'd be no ability, even for our engineers, to put it back together.
Can you talk a bit about the science behind like determining if it's COVID or no? And how did you get that those past weeks?
We aren't there yet. I mean, so all of this is based on sound processing and machine learning. What we're doing in the study, though, is collecting longitudinal data on people's symptoms and diagnoses over time and capturing their coughs. What we'd like to be able to do over time is characterize coughs as being likely related to COVID based on the training data we're gathering, or unlikely, and then we're capturing severity data as well. So we'd like to be able to characterize coughs as likely predictive of a severe course versus likely predictive of a non-severe course.
All right, that's great. Thank you. 3 minutes.
Thanks very much. Alex, you're muted if you're trying to talk.
I was in an event the other day, and I was one of the panelists, and I guess they got tired of hearing me. They kept muting me on purpose. That was super fun. But now it's just my own people doing it to me. So thanks, Pat. Anyway, so actually he did it for a reason. He had asked me a question, and so I'm going to answer the question for everybody. So one of our audience members, do we know who it is?
Dr. Patricia Abad.
Oh, Dr. Patricia Abad, A-B-A-D?
Yeah.
Okay, so Dr. Abad. So she wanted to know if she could get the pitch decks. So there's a couple different ways you can access this content afterward. Easiest way is go to medstudy.tv and go find that section of the whatever, and you can watch everything. We're just going to cut out some of the junk, but mostly we leave pretty much the raw video, which is another reminder to anybody who doesn't want anything they say. So, if you don't want people to know that you're, potty mouth, whatever, don't fucking say shit like that, okay? So anyway, so this is all the humor I have. So you can go watch the video. You can, if you go into the judging form, the email address of the founders is in there, so you can reach out directly to them. You can also send them comments or suggestions. We're going to, everybody who doesn't say, I don't want that information shared, each team is going to get all of their comments and such sent to them directly. So It's part of what we always do. Founders find it very useful. All kinds of partnerships and friendships and mentorships start with those things. So those are 2 or 3 of the options that you have. You can also email pat.hurd, H-U-R-D. Notice I'm not saying Alex, pat.hurd, or just pat@medstarter.com. Remember to leave off the last D, and he will send you whatever you want. And if you're a founder who's pitching, you don't want your deck sent out, please make sure you tell us that too, okay? But obviously we tell you not to put anything confidential that's not IP protected out here, for that purpose. I also want to remind all the pitchers to make sure you tell us your go-to-market strategy for COVID. So, and what your ask is for this audience, right? So if you're looking for pilots, if you're looking for first customers, if you're looking for, their 20th customer, if you're looking for $1.5 million at a $4 million valuation, tell us that, okay? We can help. That's what we're here for. Okay, so I think I've jabbered long enough for the interregnum. Pat, you want to get up the next presentation? And the
It's
next,
gonna be Mark.
Mark from Allergy?
No, from Phenomex.
Phenomics. Okay, very cool. That was actually a dubbing of, I believe, what was that, Prodigy? It was like part of the song Smack My Bitch Up, I think.
Oh.
Anyway.
Do you want me to share my screen? Because I have it up on I can do full screen.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Oh, I just shared. Are you not seeing it?
It's
well,
like,
we see it, but it's very small. Very, very small. There it is.
Okay.
That's
better.
Okay.
I knew he could do it. So Mark's been a member of our community and an inspiration to a lot of us for a long time. I was very excited that he was doing something for COVID. Honestly, guys like Mark and well, both Marks and Lauren, girls, and Eugene. I mean, you guys are my freaking heroes, because you're all like, creative and inventive and helping these things out. And it's very inspiring. So I was very excited to see Mark with yet another crazy, great idea. He's also helping out with the MedStarter Direct thing. So thank you, Mark. But don't let any of that affect your judging, okay?
Why, thank you.
Well,
appreciate that. I don't think of myself as creative, so.
You are very creative. Anyway, so
Okay.
my name is Alex B. Fair. I try to make the contest fair. So as much as I might be saying I love this guy, it's not personal. Okay, go ahead. 3 minutes.
Okay. Oh yeah. So Mark Pugnanita, my team is composed of a lot of biomedical engineers and medical doctors, health administrators. We have a 20-year experience in clinical, just on quantitative imaging. We've used imaging to screen and monitor for silent diseases. So on my way back from Dubai and Barcelona, before all of the travel restrictions, we decided to take a shot at CV-19. Seeing all of the data coming out of China because of their rapid system getting overwhelmed, they used chest CT quite rapidly. So we've developed a web portal, actually a full imaging platform, almost a CV-19 dashboard, but our specific focus is on imaging. So we look at, here you can see it's the CT aspect where it's the lung impairment. This is not a replacement for the PCR test, the gold standard. We're not detecting viral load, things like that. But we are looking at the lung impairment. On the left, you can see the representative CV-19 versus normal. This is a web-based platform. You can see an example of the reporting on the right. We are now expanding to a more comprehensive model, including X-ray also as part of the triage flow and the workflow. Why use CT scanning? Well, as I said, this is not the replacement for the PCR test, but there is a good amount of sensitivity, not necessarily the specificity for CT. Now, a lot of information, not so much CT has been out there. All of the testing, hopefully we're getting more testing, but I recently heard just this morning the 160,000 backlog by Quest or LabCorp, and we don't get results until 7 to 10 days in some regions in the US. With CT, we can provide a 97% predictive probability within under 2 minutes. So Here's an example of the sensitivity from the PCR, sensitivity from the chest CT, and the representation for using the imaging from China. The Alibaba and Ping An have developed their solution, but that is a Chinese company using Chinese data for the Chinese market. Yes, they've broadened international scope, but how representative is that data? Here, this graph is showing how we can actually see the increase in condition, but also the resolution upon course of treatment or natural resolving naturally. So some of the different benefits, from us are that we're combining the different technologies. We're looking at staging from fever clinic, a tent in the parking lot, to using, let's say, a mobile CT scanner, and combining the clinical symptoms, the PCR test, the chest X-ray, the chest CT, and we've been very active abroad. Myeongji Hospital in Korea, which is a Mayo affiliate, and we are looking for global collaborations to retrain the model and to launch in as many different locations as possible.
All right, that's 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. That was fantastic.
Yep.
I'm going to take the first question. So is this like a push into an existing system, or I mean, how does this get implemented?
Yeah, this is all software as a service. This can be essentially API, virtual server, on premise. This is not AI eats the radiologist. So this helps with the workflow. The radiologist might take 15 minutes to review it. This can sit as a node on their network. This can be the website to upload, like the consumer.
Mark, you only have 3 minutes. We get the idea.
Yep, go ahead.
Second question is it implemented anywhere already?
Yes, we have active trials in Korea right now, IRB approved, and that's the first set of training data.
Okay. I'll let everyone else ask questions.
Sure.
Or I can keep asking questions.
Cost would be great. What does it cost?
So right now we're looking at, for the collaboration and the training partners, offering the service for free. That way we can retrain the algorithm and provide immediate benefit. In the future, we would move to software as a service, subscription basis for access to the platform. They can implement pay-per-use if they want, but for us, it's to charge for the platform, because in the future, when it's a post-CV-19 world, we will be using our brain scans to screen for Alzheimer's and dementia, liver disease, cardiovascular disease, things like that. So this is our foot in the door.
I mean, with the
quick question: what would you be displacing that exists now to do this?
We're displacing the time, the 15 minutes that the radiologist has to go through to manually do it. So the China did it 200 scans per scanner per day, so an average of 5 minutes. In the US, we yet. So the radiology side is, still trying to handle it within their own capabilities. So we're not displacing the radiologists, we're helping with that workflow.
So you could basically make all CT radiology studies of this sort
faster,
more efficient with a little AI,
Absolutely, and quantitative, so we can measure the resolution of disease.
Have you set up an online demo so they can all download it and try it and put it up on RadNets of sorts?
Yes, so the platform is live. Email in for an account, and then they can proceed to evaluate.
Can you drop a link to the demo in the chat box or tell everybody about it?
Yes. Whoops. Yes.
Okay, how are we doing on time? Does anybody have more questions? Anybody in the audience?
Last question.
Okay, Mark, you've answered everybody's questions so well. No more questions. Great presentation. Always a pleasure to have you on the stage.
Can I share my screen?
If you want, David, he's the next person up.
Okay, yeah, David, we're gonna give the judges and me a second or two to make sure that we have Mark's stuff here done and get you loaded up. So thank you for your positive comments about my humor. I mean, it's a little cringy, but it's all I got. So I've done, I guess this is our 190th event. So actually, I wanted to say something today. So my dad died a few weeks ago, and today was his birthday. And he was definitely a victim of really, really non-innovative medical care. And, you know, it's just sad, you know, these things that happen to patients, even our people, you know, the people we know. But I just wanted to say, you know, just trying to do better for folks like my dad. So I know everybody's got stuff, and I guess 5% of the people we know are probably going to die. So just, you know, let's just keep it focused on what we're doing this for, right? Lots of great ideas, you know, that will help people live longer, better lives. So Corey Fair, 4-2, 1942. He was a huge fan of Douglas Adams, and the 42 and all of the Hitchhiker's Guide books was his thing. So anyway, just wanted to mention. Okay, and on that happy note, so a timer ready? All the judges are ready? I figure I've talked enough. You ready, Heather? Okay, so you're up. Is he controlling or are you controlling? Okay, you got the con. 3 minutes, go.
Okay, this is David Brown. Can you hear me?
Yep.
David Brown, Tecos Pharma. We do universal inhalation formulation. That means we take drugs and make them dry powders for single or multi-use dry powder inhalers with a unique encapsulation technology. And this replaces, for instance, pills and injections and such, and reduces side effects. It's painless, it's cheap, fast acting, allows controlled release, and increases shelf life. And when you talk about making a good particle, there's lots of things that influence making a good inhalable particle. If we look at traditional milled powders, they have a lot of surface area. You can decrease that surface area, the contact area, by making a spray dried powder. And what Tecos does is we further decrease the contact area and the surface properties by making a nano coating, a nano encapsulant that protects the drug from the environment and increases the dispersibility and flowability. And this shows you what our powder looks like on the right versus a traditional powder on the left. In a traditional powder, you have very high adhesion, which means you need carrier particles. You have very low dispersion, which means very poor deep lung deposition, and no encapsulation, which means short shelf life. And also you can only put 1 to 2% of drug in a formulation. On the other hand, we have very low adhesion. We can do carrier free. We have very high dispersion. We can do deep lung deposition, full encapsulation, and 99% drug. And this is some data, a lot better performance. No time to go through that now. We've been applying this to, for instance, lung diseases like asthma and COPD, and also systemic diseases like diabetes. But now we want to apply it to COVID-19 treatment. The leading cause of death from COVID-19 is pneumonia. That's an inflammatory condition of the lung, of course, caused by various infections. And that can be upper or lower bronchial tract, respiratory tract. And death is usually by suffocation caused of buildup of fluids in the lung. So what we want to do is do a very cheap and effective treatment based on a simple compound, sodium chloride, table salt. It's known to have strong medicinal effects. It loosens mucus, making expectoration easier and faster. It inhibits growth of bacteria. It increases phagocyte activity, improves lung function, including oxygen uptake, and diminishes hyperreactivity, and reduces inflammation throughout the lung. So this is all known effects of sodium chloride. So we are now in a state where we've demonstrated this technology can be used to formulate such particles. We can produce about 100 doses of an hour now. We've shown that it's biocompatible, and we've shown that this can be scaled to tons per day. And now we're looking to make a scaled up version of our process, demo it for various inhalers, and productize it. And we're now looking for about $500,000, which will be matched by government money to make about $1 million project to scale and produce inhaler demonstrations.
Great. That's 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the first question because I really don't understand. How is this related to COVID?
Because this treats the symptom of COVID and reduces and improves your lung function so that you can recover.
So you're saying encapsulating salt in your, so using salt.
Yeah, so you inhale that.
Yeah, no, I get it. So the 2015 study, though, that was just using, I don't know, aqueous saline or whatever, but it wasn't using your inhaler?
No, this is inhaled powder that goes into the alveoli of your lung.
I'm saying it's not your product. That's
No.
So do you have efficacy of did you do this salt study, compare it to, with and without yours?
No, we haven't done any epidemiological studies yet.
Got it.
This is what we're looking for funding and assistance in.
Field core technology is the powder creation, for lack of a better term, right?
Exactly.
And you have found that some of these particles can demonstrate the relief of the symptoms.
Yes.
It's not really a therapy. It's a relief, a temporary relief that could potentially help the patients in the front lines.
Yeah, it keeps your lungs and your breathing healthy so that you can recover on your own or with other medications.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like hydration. I mean, it's a very important part that people don't usually appreciate. Sam, do you want to weigh in on this? Is she like permanently muted?
No, she's.
Sam, you're muted.
I am muting myself. I would be interested to see in how this combines with current treatment that's in clinical trial right now, as you probably know.
Sure.
Azithromycin, hydroxychloroquine are is the leading combo at this point, along with the Gilead drug. So
Well, it would be like an adjuvant to that, I guess.
it would have to be, or at least maybe before. I don't know, because the clinical trials.
We see that this can be, we see that people would be taking inhalations, maybe 10 inhalations a day to keep their lungs clear. And we could also combine this delivery mechanism with other drugs. It would be delivered directly to your lung. So we can have multi.
It's safe. And it's safe. It's sodium chloride.
Yeah.
Okay. We got more questions? I know Eugene headed a bio break. We're actually going to break in a few minutes. Let's see. I guess you have a minute to talk about something else you didn't cover yet, David. Are there any
Okay.
questions from the audience?
15
seconds left.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Take your pee breaks.
Anyway, so David, I thought that was really great, really interesting what you're doing. And, it's simple, yet sounds like it's potentially effective. Are you getting any traction or interest?
This is the very first introduction to the world of this idea.
Wow, world premiere.
Yes.
Questions from Dr. Patricia Barr.
Oh, we got a question from the audience. We might as well do it.
Could this be used as a prophylactic?
Could it be used as a prophylactic? It's not that kind of prophylactic.
Yeah, it can be, but it's when you start showing symptoms, when you start having any sort of shortness of breath or low oxygen uptake, that's when it's most effective. That's what we predict.
Interesting. Okay, so anybody who wants to get in touch with Dr. Brown, he's david.brown@teicos.pharma.com, or you can just go to Teicos Pharma, which is TEICOS pharma.com. So great job. And for the first 5 teams, you guys did fantastic. We're actually supposed to be doing the TikTok dance break right now. So so you can do whatever you want, but here's what we're gonna do. So if you do not want to be part of this, please turn off your video, okay? If you do want to, so Eugene, is your daughter here?
Alex, I'm turning off my video.
You're turning off your video? That's not cool. That is not fun. Okay. Look, I mean, I think actually one of our attendees once said that, that they only wanted to go to events where there was dancing. And so since then, we've actually included, and actually it was Aline who started us saying we should do some fun social events. And we did, this is just for Health 2.0 New York meetup group. And so we did, I think it was at the end of 2017, Aline, that we did, what was it? We did a karaoke night, right? And you guys got to hear my terrible voice. So that was fun. Anyway, then we did Dance Dance Healthcare Revolution, another MedStarter mentor suggestion. And, she can reveal if she wants to, whose idea that was. We did it again this year on my birthday. So Patty, you're gonna lead this? Oh, somebody's, Eugene's got it. Okay, so hang on. Can we,
You said whoever doesn't want to participate, shut off the video. So I was joking.
Oh, okay.
I have maybe just very quick peek, say hello. This is my 15, almost 16-year-old Shane, who wants to stay off the camera, but she will be teaching me. I have never practiced this, and I will be, like I said, it's blind leading the blind, except my daughter Shane.
So Eugene, are you playing the music, or do we have to go find it?
No, so first we're gonna try to do this, because we got about 10 minutes, right? Or 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, sure.
So we're gonna do this slowly, move by move, right? And we're gonna do it a few times until people get it, including myself. I'm a very slow learner when it comes to dancing.
I can vouch for that.
And Shane says she can vouch for that one. And then we're gonna just kind of play through the music here. So let's just test this out.
Okay.
Yep. Hold on.
You got a sound system here.
Can you guys hear it? Okay. So first without music.
Are you in the screen?
Yeah, I'm in mine.
You in yours? So, okay, so we only have 9 people in the live stream version. So me, Eugene, Aline, Paulo, Sam, George. Who's this? Who's the blank screen? Can we get rid of them? Heather, you gonna dance with us? Oh, come on, Heather. Come on.
I have to take care of Gigi. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Well, take her out of the mix. So there's just 6 of us.
With this person?
And I'd like to note that I have actually danced with almost everybody on the screen at some point. So not well.
I remember dancing with you.
Yeah, almost everybody. But Paulo, Aline, and who else? Okay. So, okay, what are we doing, Eugene?
All right, so I'm gonna stare at my daughter, who is gonna teach me how to do it, and you guys follow me. This will be kind of fun. All right, so I'm just gonna keep rolling this, like, should I?
I'd like to take this moment to tell you that if you fill out the judging form, well, you get one of these t-shirts. Make sure you give us your address and your t-shirt size.
All right. So, little stretch first of all. Yep. Okay. All right, Shane, lead us. So
Oh, no, we have hats. Do you want
so bend your right leg.
Pink hat? What are we doing?
Bend your left leg.
Yep. And kick out your right leg.
Kick your right.
I'll make his bigger.
Kick your left.
And then repeat that.
Spotlight again.
Right. Oh, look at that. I can see myself now. All right, so right leg, left leg, kick, kick.
Which is my right leg?
Again.
Kick, kick. Okay.
Okay, so that's the first set of moves. So right, left, kick, kick, right, left, kick, kick.
Okay.
Everybody got it?
You're good at this, Eugene. You're excellent.
Okay, next.
One hand up, right hand up.
Right hand up.
Then swirl it.
Swirl it.
Then the other hand alone.
We have to bend our knees too?
Alone. And then swirl.
And then, swirl it.
No, like this.
Then do your rolly. Do your rolly.
It does this.
Can you please take over for your father? Don't leave him alone on this. Come on. Help us out.
Okay, so let's repeat this whole thing from the beginning. It's
Oh, so I have to wear the pink hat this time? Okay, fine.
Okay, you're like
Like support all the women in the audience.
up.
Up.
Then turn.
Turn.
Then
Second.
No, then up. And
Yep.
then
Just, so Eugene, it's just up, then okay.
Yep. All right, next.
Up. Then both. Then this.
Do your rolly.
Yeah.
Do your rolly. And then what?
That's it. That's right.
That's it?
Yeah.
No, you gotta lean with it. Lean with it.
Okay.
Do you guys practice?
After the roll,
Then you lean to the right and roll.
lean, and then roll,
And then other side.
and then roll back. Okay.
And then it's this.
And then the crazy dance.
That's right.
Okay.
And then again to the right, you go one, kind of roll and open your hands, not all the way, just this and open, and then other side.
And you always go this way first.
Okay. That's it?
Yes.
All right, so let's try this with music next to the speaker.
Right. Okay, put it on everybody.
Yep.
Okay, so we're now gonna allow, Eugene, give me a sec. Okay, good. Now we got everybody. Why do we have a blank one in the middle? This is like the Brady Bunch without, Martha.
Okay.
Yeah, you get rid of it?
It's really quick.
2, 1. All right, we just did it.
That was easy. Okay, can we all do it one more time? Like, that was like the practice stuff.
I see Samantha is very amused.
Oh, she's not dancing? She's probably the best dancer here.
All right, so we're gonna do this one more time.
Okay. Samantha, you gotta do this with us. This is not fair. You can't just watch.
I hope you're recording this and you're gonna have some cuts out of this.
This is live streaming, so I don't know how many people are watching. We'll see later, but
Right.
Okay, can we switch
Right
hats,
now,
please?
there's at least 36 on Zoom and then Facebook Live.
But there's also MedStutter.tv, so there's that.
All right, ready?
Health 2.0. It's all over the place.
Let's do this one more time
You
before.
guys note that I'm wearing the Direct Shifts. Okay, one of our portfolio companies. Sponsored by.
3, 2, 1.
Woo! Okay, we did
All
it.
right, my job is done for the day.
Well, no, you're also, you and Aline are also moderating the panel later too.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
We're doing disco later too, right?
So in the chat, next time,
yours.
All right, my teacher and guide on my dancing career.
you're fantastic.
Thank you, Gene.
So now I just want to know, next time we should do some sort of singing contest because we do have the karaoke machine. So that could be our next activity because we are doing this every week for a couple of weeks. And honestly, I have a very low threshold for boredom. So we've done TikTok. What else is there, right? Okay. So now, does anybody want to take a break or should we just get right back to the action?
Get back to it.
Get back to it. Paulo, you just can't get enough of these startups, can you? So I wanted Rob Delianartis, Heather's husband, to talk about MedStarter Ventures. Heather, would you like to take your husband's place in this? I can do it. I talk about it all the time. I just figure people get bored of listening to me. Okay. But actually, he was supposed to come in the room and do it. So can you at some point?
I'll go get him.
You'll go get him? Somebody go get him.
I'll be right back.
So, so one of the things that we figured out that we should be doing, and mostly it's because we saw Mark Zuckerberg put $150 million into a fund going at COVID innovations, is telling people that, hey, we're going to invest in a bunch of the startups you're seeing coming through this process. We had about 100 companies apply to be on this stage of sorts. And there's some really great companies, some companies we've seen before that are refocusing, retargeting. We actually created a new entity ourselves called MedStarter Direct, where we're selling the innovations, which I talked a little bit about before, but Deanna Dammers is leading sales. Paulo's involved with that too. And it's really, it's all about finding ways to help innovations get out to market faster and things like that. And also helping deal with the COVID crisis. We've got 57 million N95 masks and, 5 million rapid test kits and all these kinds of things from over 100 different manufacturers around the world that are trying to get their, products out to market. So they started calling us. We said, oh yeah, we know some people. And we started having those conversations and it's gone really well. So my brother and Rob are leading that effort, and I'm just helping out, organizing and such. Anyway, so it's a lot of healthcare innovators who we've known for a long time. We just came together and formed a rapid team, which we've been doing for years for all different projects, as many of you know. So it's really, it's exciting. Now, what time did we say we were going to get back into the action? Are we on target?
Yeah, we're about there.
We're about on target. So just
Alex, Robert here.
Robert, you're here. So can you give the rundown on MedStarter Ventures and what we're investing in and how people can get in touch and all that other fun stuff?
Well, the short version is Alex did all the heavy lifting for about the last 11 years creating the platform. And about 2.5 years ago, we created the venture fund, which essentially invests in the best of the best. Some of you, with the help of some of the crowd and probably people in this audience, I haven't looked at the full audience. I was actually just working on the medical supply angle right now. So we invest in the best of the best, and we probably see somewhere well over 1,000 companies a year. We have 7 portfolio companies, soon to be 8. It's going really well. And a lot of it is with the help of you guys and our crowd. And that's how we, in part, vet some of our investments. So, so far, so good.
That's great. And, you know, while past performance is not a predictor of future results, our past performance is pretty freaking amazing. So in statistical terms, it's about 10 times better than most of your venture funds. So as, you know, an investor myself, I'm very pleased. I know George said it best the other day when the stock market was crashing. He was like, I'm so glad I gave you guys my money because at least some of it's safe. So anyway, so we, but yeah, we're, you know, registered and, you know, insured and do all the things that we're supposed to. We use Carta for all of our bookkeeping. So even though we're scientists and real estate moguls and whatever that started this thing, you know, and we've got amazing folks like the mentors here and the judges here who help us vet the companies, and plus the enormous crowd. You know, we get a lot more data than most people do before we make decisions, which explains why our companies like AlertG, that when we invested, you know, at about 1/10 of the valuation they have today, and probably 1/10 of what they'll have in a year, same for Safe Health, both who are on the call today. That's why, you know, it's not luck. It's using all the information, all the resources, all the platforms we have to learn about the teams and then to help them go ahead forward faster. So of the 8 teams today, 2 have been through some of our due diligence, 2 are already in our portfolio, and then there's 6 complete unknowns, which we selected out of the 100 teams that have applied for this particular contest so far. So we love getting to know the teams. We love talking to the innovators and helping out wherever we can. Okay, so Pat, can we get the next deck up? Those of you who are, you know, playing the home game, you're going to hear about Thera. You know that we're seeing Thera from Frank Cox from Thera. Yep. Now, Frank actually pitched at our end of 2019 event at Node Health. I think it was his first couple of days of work. Even though he was a little bit nervous, he really, you know, killed it. He did really well. I don't even see him on the list here.
I'm here.
There it is.
Are you one of the many Patrick Herds?
No.
He's under it.
Oh, there you are. Okay, good. Sorry, I'm a little blind. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna share your screen again, his deck, or is he going?
Do you want to share?
My screen?
No, go ahead.
I have it up if you want to share, but up to you.
I can just share mine. That might be easier. All right. Okay, so is the timer on?
Hey, you're taking my lines. It's a valid question, though. Timer ready? That's a yes.
Okay. All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Frank. I'm the Director of Sales at Thera. We're the first company using social VR in therapy, and today I'm going to explain how we're helping address the COVID-19 pandemic. So we have some problems listed here, which a typical patient might run into. And right now, with the current pandemic, these problems are greatly amplified. You know, people need to practice social distancing, and now there's a bunch of states on lockdown. You know, people have even less access to their doctors and therapists than they had before. So the solution we have is we have therapy in VR, which you can access anywhere at any time, as long as you have an Oculus Quest or a Rift. But we also are launching a new telehealth app, which some of the features on it, you can find doctors and therapists, schedule appointments, and make emergency calls. It's a pay-as-you-go service, so instead of being a subscription-based model where you pay at either the beginning or the end of the month, we don't charge you unless you actually use the service. So if you haven't used it for a month, then you won't be charged for that month. And so in the market, I mean, you can see that obviously telehealth has just become much more valuable and much more important, especially for healthcare workers that are on the front lines. They really need to be taken care of and protected since they're, have the most exposure to the current outbreak. And so giving them more access to remote access care will greatly reduce the risk of the disease spreading. So on top of our telehealth app that we're launching soon, we have the VR. And what it is we have the app, it's fully developed, and it's ready to go. All you need is an Oculus Quest, secure Wi-Fi connection, and you can meet with your therapist in a virtual reality environment. So both of you would have a headset rather than just one of you having it. So right now, I mean, you can just kind of see this is a different little stat, but with everything that's going on with, in the government, they're trying to get telehealth to really be pushed out a lot because this is what we really need. So there's, obviously with everyone needing to stay home, telehealth has become much more important. And so comparing us to our competitors, I mean, we're the only company that's doing therapy. Most other VR therapy companies will only do it where it's one way. So the therapist will be on a computer watching kind of what the patient's experiencing. And again, we have a low monthly cost for both of our, both the VR and the telehealth app. It's
30 seconds left.
And and so in a case study for the VR, both the patient and the therapist gave very positive feedback. And people that we've demoed to at events have been very optimistic. So now we're looking for a seed investment of $1 million to help support our staff and to help grow. Both the VR app and the telehealth app are ready to go, and we don't need funding for that. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Great job, Frank. You're definitely more seasoned than you were back in the day.
Oh, I've had to do so many cold calls.
Yeah, well, that's what you learn in a startup, right, Pat?
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have questions? Aline?
Yes, Frank, can you use any headsets? Like if you're home, can you use like a cardboard headset, or does it work?
Well, right now, we only have it working on the Oculus Rift and the Quest, but we are looking to expand to other headsets so you can do cross-platform. So if I had a Rift, or I have a Quest here with me, and someone had, let's say, a Vive, we would be able to communicate and go into the VR environment together. But we're only using the Quest just because we're still in the early stage.
And as a patient, do I have to purchase the headset, or do you rent them, or do you lend them?
So the patient would have to purchase the headset, but right now we see there's about, I think, 1.3 million people that own the Oculus Quest, and that doesn't include the Rift or any other sort of headset. So, people that already have the Quest, they can start using it, they can use it today. If we just need to kind of we do have a digital marketing campaign on Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook, which we've been getting, at least 10 to 12 people that want to sign up like a day. So we really, it's getting really popular.
Frank, just have you found that there is a therapeutic value in VR versus just using Zoom? Or, I mean, to your point, there's so much competition in kind of virtual platforms, right, in general.
Oh, well, yes, definitely. Environments we have, so we have a shrine, there's a forest, they're really scenic and they're really nice. And just sort of thinking about everybody having to stay home, and doing Zoom meetings all the time for work, there's got to be a way to sort of get out of that. And by doing, especially with therapy, would be much more beneficial to someone that's, in crisis, to go into this really beautiful shrine and be able to just walk around, explore, and talk with a therapist.
Well, Frank, just to be clear, have you done any studies to show that your specific approach is a differentiator? If you're looking to sell it into the clinical marketplace, they may want to ask you this question. Just saying it feels nice, looks nice, and is pleasant, may not be an awesome selling point. So that's what I'm trying to get at.
I should have mentioned this in the pitch. We signed a contract with Dallas Children's Hospital about a month ago, and we're working on starting clinical trials. Hopefully by the summer. Just obviously the outbreak is going to affect that. Hopefully it's done by then. So we're going to do that with Cedars-Sinai, with Stanford University, and gosh, there's one more that I forget the name of. Oh, Children's Hospital LA is the last one.
And those are actual pilots, or that's prospective?
Well, they're going to happen. Just the thing is, with the current outbreak, it's kind of delayed that. But with Dallas Children's Hospital, we're still moving forward with them because we signed that contract a while ago.
So I think Pat has a question too.
Last question.
Well, we're going to take the organizer's prerogative and ask another question.
Hey Frank, any chance that you're talking to like insurance companies for like a reimbursement for patients who get the RIF?
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So in terms of being reimbursed for buying the Quest, or like buying a headset, that I'm not sure of, but we are just getting, our CEO, Aaron, is getting into these IPA groups right now. And, we're working really hard to be billable by insurance, and with like everything that's happening with this pandemic, all the borders have been lifted in terms of psychiatry, which makes it much easier for us to be billed by insurance companies in a different state, for example.
Okay, great. So, if judges, you'll take a moment and do your judging stuff. That'd be great. Okay, we're going to bring up the next presentation.
That's gonna be Lauren, but somebody's
Okay.
just supposed to go, so just let them know that.
So Lauren, you don't have 20 minutes? You got to go? You got to take yourself off mute. I don't read lips very well. I'm a really shitty lip reader. And for all you lip readers out there, sorry, that's an old George Carlin joke. Anyway. Okay, Lauren, we can hear you now. Why did you have to go over there to take yourself off mute?
Oh, no, I had to grab my computer charger because I realized.
A really big computer.
It's a huge computer.
That's our really big computer over there.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
I can see a screen. I see a PowerPoint, not in presentation mode. Okay, so for the judges, okay, hopefully you guys have all finished scoring Thera VR for COVID. Now, your original order was what, 9th?
Yes.
Okay, so to get to that, you don't have to score everything, but you hit the next button, I believe, twice on the bottom, and go until you get to, sorry, you got to scroll down again. I'm doing it myself, so in real time. New Era by Dave Napier, not that one. The next one is number 9, Safe Health with Lauren. I never know how to pronounce it.
Weiniger. And thank you so much for accommodating. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I know you guys are busy. Oh my God, so busy. Anyway, so we've been showcasing what you guys have been doing or planning on doing for like 2 weeks now. So I can't wait to hear more about it. We're very excited about Safe Health. It's one of our portfolio companies, also one of our fastest growing. Also just did a giant deal with Mayo Clinic. It's very exciting stuff. So it's just one of the things that we do for our startups in these, challenging situations when, one of the bigs comes in and says, yeah, we want to, really work, with you, and they want a lot of stuff. I've heard stories from other founders saying, give us your IP and we'll license it back to you. And then if it's successful, maybe we'll give you some money. So the bigs don't always play fair, but she's got, I wouldn't say we're big, but we've done a lot of big stuff. And so they get advisement from Rob DeLeonardis and my brother, and some from me even, although I usually, don't do that. Anyway, so I've talked enough. Heather, are you ready? Yes, I'll take that as a yes. Okay, Lauren, go for it.
All right, so hi, I'm Lauren Weininger. I'm the founder of Safe Health. So we are a vertically integrated digital healthcare company that was initially focused on sexual health, but is uniquely positioned for COVID-19, as you'll see. It includes a national physician network, diagnostic testing, interoperability engine, and prescription delivery platform. So our debut product is the Safe app. People called it the Safe Sex app, which let people privately show their verified STD status on their phone and confirm their partner status. It also made it super easy to get tested at over 30,000 labs across the country through our partnerships with Quest, LabCorp, and other labs, or order at-home tests. Now, we started solving one public health crisis with STD rates at a new all-time high in the US. And then COVID happened. And it turns out that we are uniquely positioned for this new, now more urgent public health crisis. So that's where Safe comes in. Now that the Safe app, we're adding in COVID for testing and verification. Lets people show that, it turns out that an app that lets people show that they have been tested and makes it super easy to be tested is very useful here. But here's the secret sauce. Users can import their test results, so their medical records, for free from wherever they were last tested. We do this through partnerships and direct data integrations with many of the leading players in healthcare, from the labs, Quest and LabCorp, as well as through the Sequoia project, Epic, Cerner, Kaiser, CVS, MinuteClinic, Walgreens, and more. We also signed a huge deal with Mayo Clinic that I'll go into later. This enables direct data access to around 92% of patient records in the US and counting. So for users, it's really a simple flow. They simply input the provider lab or patient portal where they were last tested. We verify their identity and they authorize consent, and their verified medical records are securely imported from millions of providers across the US. There's a version that's the STDs plus COVID, as well as a COVID-only version for employers, friends, employees, and workers, and more. Behind the seemingly simple consumer app, Safe is powered by a proprietary EHR that was purpose-built for virtualizing care and enables this digital healthcare marketplace. It's built on FHIR with distributed ledger technology. Our patient data interface engine has HL7 FHIR smart technologies. What we call assisted care automation that really automates every step in the process that enables more efficiency throughout what we call these low complexity tests. And our national physician network enables insurance billing for both testing and prescriptions. And we have 3 high margin revenue streams. It's diagnostic testing, health services, so medical service fees for the telemedicine piece, and prescription delivery. Again, all of these were initially focused on the STD market that are now being applied to COVID. On the prescription side, as well as the diagnostic testing side, this is being integrated as things become either FDA approved or available.
30 seconds.
So what did you say? Whatever. So we launched, we had really fast growth from our first launch, about 70,000 users, actually more than that now, around 668,000 in revenue. Because Safe is more than an app. It's really a movement. We've amassed this coalition of influential supporters on a mission to make the world a safer and more fun place to be. And now the Safe badge on dating apps, once the world returns to normal, even before with COVID, we'll be announcing 3 major ones soon that let people show that they've been tested and they can prove it with the Safe app. Because the STD verification piece was always a Trojan horse into a larger healthcare play. So this next step is a signed partnership with Mayo Clinic, in partnership with McKesson as well, and RB to develop the connected diagnostics platform that includes home testing as well as a remote care device, which enables insurance billing. The initial entry point was the STD market. However, now we've rapidly shifted to COVID for our pandemic response platform. My team brings deep expertise. That's it?
That's 3 minutes. Thank you, Lauren.
Okay. Any questions?
Lauren, this is Eugene. With the existing users, obviously, that was for your original model. And then I guess the question is, how do you compare, or do you consider things like Everlywell a competitor? And if so?
So Everlywell and NERCS, they all use molecular labs for their test kits. We're actually doing a partnership with molecular labs. So it's for the SDI piece, it's the exact same thing. However, because of our partnership with them, because of RB actually, which they own Durex, as well as Mucinex, they own Airborne, a whole bunch of others. So they own shelf space in cold and flu as well as sexual health. So it's the same exact test on the SDI piece, but 30% less. So yes, they also don't offer what we offer on the importing of data side. So nobody will ever own 100% of any of these markets. And the goal is to get these solutions, whatever the most innovative solutions, the best solutions are, we want to get them to the consumer. I think Everlywell is great. We've actually partnered with them in the past on this piece. Yes, we will compete.
So really fantastic progress, Lauren. I just want to point out to everybody what a pro she is. You're getting better all the time. Just amazing. I don't know if you're getting like coaching or something, or it's just practice makes perfect. It's from being in LA, but you look like a star. And
I started as a theater major, so.
I would explain it. Yeah, and and that's really why the t-shirts are rock concert style, because we do have a lot of rock stars.
Well, our company's always been, it's a healthcare company, but it's a technology company. It's just as much a marketing company. And I'm not inventing. A lot of the presentations today have been, the cutting edge science, innovation part of it. I'm not inventing any of that, but what we're really great at is getting to the consumer, helping connect consumers with those innovations. So I want to be the help all of those innovations get to the consumers and help consumers find those things that are best for them.
So they can download your app now on the App Store at Safe Health.
Correct.
And you can see people's STD status. We can't see one. Are there more questions for Lauren? Because I could, Lauren and I could banter all day like this.
Sorry, just one more. So the COVID-19 test kits, I know it's been back and forth between the FDA. What's the latest status on the go-to-market, and when do you expect it?
So there's about 15 that are in line. There's one in particular that's, I can't speak to everything right now. There's one in particular that is looking very likely to be the first one approved, and I have a signed MOU with them. We're not going to be we won't be offering anything until it's FDA approved. When these things are, we're making sure that we're positioned so that we can, and we're all set up to do it. And so in the meantime, it's for the other tests that are available. So the Quest tests, which obviously aren't ideal. It's really what we're thinking. It's kind of how Germany is handling it, where there's the antibody tests, which show at least you have the antibodies, but then you want the confirmatory PCR test, and it's from a combination of that. It's changing constantly. We're working with Mayo scientists as well as scientists at Columbia to kind of verify what makes the most sense. And then as these things become available, more validated, we will make them available. Not before then. Before then, though, the people that have been tested, like for healthcare workers, factory workers, other employers that want to help their, at least do something for people coming back to work, if they can show that they've had some test results that gives them some information. We are not in the place yet to be the end all be all, but it's a step in the right direction.
And to answer your question, also from the MedStarter Direct perspective, I think you can see my screen here. So we actually have, I believe, this is just our listing of all the different vendors and suppliers and what have you, for testing kits that we have available to ship in the States. Now a lot of these might be, informational purposes only, but we've got like 13 million sitting in warehouses ready to ship within 7 days right now. And these are the rapid test kits. They're some of the PCR tests, things like that. So when SAFE is ready to start, shipping, MedStarter Direct can help supply them, as well as anything else that anybody needs. So Deanna Dammers and Paula are working on this. 152 million masks, 51 million masks available right now. So not to be plugging MedStarter Direct all the time, but we're plugging MedStarter Direct all the time. So judges, take a moment and no, you don't have to, fill out forms for MedStarter Direct. We're already investing in that. For Safe Health, they're not really in the contest per se, but all feedback is useful. If you have questions or you want to work with them or you want to, advise them, more is always better. So, okay, so Pat, if you want to bring up the next presentation. Great job, Lauren, always amazing.
Thank you.
Also want to say thank you to all the people who, hang on, this is not the right deck. This was Mid-Mill, Miami. Sorry, too many cities, not enough brains. These are some of our judges and panelists, many of whom didn't show up, but many of whom are here. And that's one of the reasons in a virtual event, it's really good to have, a lot of, yes, Heather, I see you're amused. Is Gigi in the room? Yeah, okay, sorry. Oh, I have 1 minute.
All right, I'm ready.
You're ready, okay, good. Okay, so So anyway, so without the help of a crowd, we couldn't be able to do something like this. Somebody like Sunita or Dr. Nazareth, they've got patients to see. So putting 2 or 3 hours into a virtual event like this is easy if you're, you know, like us, this is all you're doing. But it isn't for the people who are needed everywhere. So,
Alex,
yes, Elaine?
this is Sunita. I joined
yeah.
like two presentations ago. I did join.
Oh, you're Patrick Hurd. Oh, hello, Patrick Hurd, the third. Oh, no, we only have 2 Patrick Hurds. Okay, so the Patrick Hurd on the bottom right. Sunita, turn on your camera. No, or you just got back from the hospital and you're not ready for prime time?
No, I can. I don't know. Oh, start the video, right? Start the video.
You always like it that way. Did you, hold on, you weren't part of the dance off?
Again.
Oh, there is no time.
Anyway.
Okay, yeah, you can go ahead. I'm around.
Well, Sunita, give us 30 seconds on who you are and why we care.
Hi, I am Sunita. I'm an infectious disease doctor, and currently I'm actually a medical director at post-acute care facility which is under Arch Care. It's in East Harlem, and I am totally seeing tons of COVID patients right now, as well as guiding doctors and nurse practitioners to manage COVID. So I'm on the front line dealing with all of that.
That's fantastic. And so I'll be sending you the video link later, and want to get your full thoughts on the rest of the teams that you didn't get to see, as per usual. So, but of course, we'll take whatever we can get from today. Do you have the judging form open? There's a link to it in the chat.
Oh, we sent to her.
Yeah, Pat will send it directly to you. It's the same as last time, so just put your thoughts in there and we'd be very, very appreciative. Okay, so, pardon me?
She's still Pat, yeah.
She's still Pat Hurd. If you click on your face, Sunita, I think it gives you the option to change your name, but you've got more important things to do.
Next person.
Yeah, it's fine. I just clicked on the link. It's okay.
Okay. You got your judging form open? Okay, so we're actually back on number 7. So you can actually fast forward to number 7 through that while the person's talking. Do you have their deck?
He wants to share.
Okay, so I got it. Shavash.
Yes, I'm here.
Shavash came through our accelerator program last week. We did a virtual accelerator. It was really quite good. Shavash came a long way. He even changed the name of his company so we won't confuse his company with a sex toy. There you go, Guardian Robots. Much better than Rob. Okay, let's just say for most improved name, you guys definitely get the award.
Thank you.
Okay, so you might want to go to presentation mode so we can actually don't have to see them. It's under slide 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so Heather, 3 minutes, good to go. Okay, pay attention. She's going to say 30 seconds towards the end, so this. Go for it.
Sure. So, hello, I'm Sarvesh Karkhanis. I am the founder of Guardian Robotics. So, a bit about myself first. I'm 15 years. I was part of the Venture Out and MedStarter Health Accelerator. And I run a robotics, I run a Facebook group for COVID-19. About 2,000 innovators from 90 countries. And I also won an award recently at MIT for one of my projects. So now let's see what the problem we are trying to work on. So doctors are facing great challenge while treating the COVID-19 patients, and they are risking themselves getting contracted. So what's our solution? So we have designed a sterilized telepresence robotic system. It is now patent pending, and a single doctor can control multiple robots, which can then go to their patients and see them. It can be controlled using smartphone or tablet, and it is a touchless system. That means all the sanitization, spraying, and all the stuff that happens
happens automatically using the robotic arms. No human interference is required there. So I was also covered in CBS and Yahoo for some of my other, that is somewhat traction we have. Now, what's the market for these telepresence robots? So it was projected that it would be about $8 billion by 2023, but that was this. But now, immediately there is a market due to the crisis. We have plans for global. This robot is useful in all such situations, even when there is no such pandemic, and it's affordable and effective because one doctor for many patients. So here's our immediate to-do. We were in the process of creating the prototype, but the process is somewhat delayed because of down, but we are still working on it. So we will immediately start the field testing once the prototype is ready. Manufacturers, mainly the automotive manufacturers, who have all the facility and infrastructure to make such robots. And currently, I'm the founder
30
and
seconds
the
left.
only person on the team. Sure. So I'm the only person on the team because I had founded this company as a response to this COVID-19 crisis. So we would soon hire a small team of robotics and marketing experts and also experts from the health field to create this system. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Harvesh. Does anybody want to go first? Eugene?
Sure. So what's the timeline? I mean, you have the prototype. Obviously, you know, the supply chain and the going from proof of concept to scale, even in this time. What's the pathway?
My idea is that we can like start the production in 15 days because the prototype is almost ready. I'm now writing the software, the final software. So I also had a word with one of our senators in India. So I talked to him that we can like start the production. So I'm looking at all the possibilities, whether I can tie up with industry.
And what's the price point?
The price point is about $10,000. So $10,000 would be the cost for us. So we would be like selling it for $30,000 or $40,000.
Sorry, I just want to confirm. You said 30,000?
Yes.
For a sales point.
Yes. So the price is going to be like 10,000 because like there's all a lot. Normal conditions we can like get it to like 5,000, but currently I'm like in talks with the industry and it doesn't seem like the price is going down.
And maybe I missed it. How long until you have this at scale so if people want to buy it, it can get
15 days. Once I start work with the industry, it would take around 15 days to get it to the market.
Sarvesh, so is this robot with you right now? Is it listening?
No, currently I do not have it because the prototype is in my office, but I have one of the parts which I can show you. So can you see this is, okay. So this is a snake-like robotic arm, which is part of that project. And it will be mainly used to do all the work like putting the plastic sheets and doing the spraying of the liquid on the robot so that no human would require to do all that. So,
that's right.
So here's the part. Like, any other question?
I was trying to.
Aside from the COVID-19 situation, where do you see the best use cases in the industry?
Yeah, I think this can be used like at a lot of places. Like for surveillance and rescue situation, it's a great idea, like during earthquakes and natural calamities. And also in general industries where like the bosses need to like look after various parts of the industry, so they can totally use this robot for that.
Great.
That's 3 minutes. Thank you. That's
Great job,
great.
Thank you.
Travis. Vast improvement, and thank you. I like your robots in the background. So just so you guys know, yeah, the Iron Giant. So just so you know, you guys can all say your virtual backgrounds here on Zoom. But I would comment that I'd rather see more of the prototype and less of the DreamWorks creation or whatever that was. Okay, great. So judges, if you'll take a moment, tell us what you think about the presentation quality. My biggest issue is going to be about timing. Like, I don't believe that your prototype and you can go to production in 15 days, unless you already have, enough investors. What are your startup costs going to be for that? Do you need to raise money for that?
Yeah, I have like two options. I can raise like $500,000 now, or
Right.
I can totally tie up with an automotive industry, and we can do it together.
So how long do you think till they would actually be in the market?
Once we start work on it, it will just take less than 15 days to get it to the market, because I'm already in talk with a few hospitals and our senator, and they would be helping me to do it, to start the trials and stuff like that. But first we need to get the prototype ready.
Yeah, you might want to have, you might want to think about that estimate. I don't think anybody's going to believe you. But we can talk about that more offline. Great job.
Sure.
Very happy to see it. Okay, so
Thank you.
I think everybody's probably done judging this area. So if you'll hit the next button, judges and audience members who are participating and adding in your thoughts, it's appreciated. So it was in this 7th inning stretch, which is, I guess, is the 8th inning technically, that last time we did a tell us what country you're coming from. So I would hope that everybody who's in the actually can everybody use the chat box,
Yeah.
including, okay. So everybody, if you could tell us where you're dialing in from for this virtual event, that'd be great. We'll take a screenshot of it and we'll include it in our hey, look at how many people are here and from wherever. So yeah, if you could just say where you're from, and if it's a place like West Baden that some idiotic American like me doesn't know where is, just make sure you tell us it's in Germany or what have you. Very cool. So we got Rye, New York, very nice. Chicago, Uruguay, really, that's new. Welcome, Elizabeth from Uruguay. We got Rye, I got that again. The Bronx is in the house. I do know my way to San Jose. I actually got out a ticket once by singing the cop that song because I was trying to get to San Jose, and I went through, almost ran over a bunch of people. London, yeah. I actually got out of 3 tickets that way.
By the way, Alex, Uruguay is not new. It's been around.
What's not new?
I said Uruguay is not new. It's been around.
It's new to you.
It's new for us. It's new for us. Okay, fine. Everybody make fun of me. We got New Jersey twice. That's great. In Finland. Okay, David Brown. Very good. So thank you everybody for sharing. And did I miss any place? Very cool. Okay. And, thank you everybody for your comments in there. If you have comments for the presenters, we're going to make those available later. So do you have the next deck up, or do you just have my stupid head?
And it's new.
Okay, David, your time has come. Are you still here, or did you fall asleep on us? All right, David. Oh, there you are. Not sleeping. Make sure your mute is off, right? I can't hear you, David. Still not a lip reader. That's going to be a problem. Okay, so David, I want you to call in. You should have in the invitation an invite for the audio. Okay, just make sure you don't have both microphones on at the same. Oh, you are called in.
We merged in with the audio. I think do something. One sec.
Okay, we're working on it.
All right, try now.
Say something, David.
Okay, you hear me now?
Oh, look at that. Perfect. This is why we like everybody to dial in early for a tech check. But David actually did. Anyway, so you got his deck up. How come I don't see his deck?
I got it.
You got it? How do I get it?
Oh, I'll pull it now.
Okay, there you go. Okay. New Era Healthcare. Okay, great.
So David, just let me know when to go to the next slide.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so are we ready?
Go for it, man.
Okay. My name is David Napier. I'm the CEO and founder of New Era Healthcare. My background is in business and healthcare administration, and also for the last 3 years, I'm also a caregiver for my mother, as well, who is homebound as well. So next slide. So our mission and purpose, New Era Healthcare, founded to provide the right care at the right time at the point of care and need. And this is to ensure that everyone has access to and experiences as high a quality of health and life as possible. So to accomplish our next slide, to accomplish our mission, I have designed a what I call a physician house calls service that is multi-specialty and, coordinated and scoped to provide a system of care to bring health care transcending the traditional barriers and walls of a traditional health care in a office building, but going directly to the patient's home and at their point of care and need. And so our initial service offering will include primary care, post-acute care, and urgent care. So primary care it involves the comprehensive health maintenance and management of both pediatric, adults, seniors, women's health, dietary, nutritional counseling, infectious disease medicine, especially as it relates to COVID-19, chronic disease prevention and management, and also the next slide, and also things like medication therapy management, care coordination and referrals, and making sure that the patient is we provide a comprehensive level of care to meet the patient health and wellness needs. Next slide. So in addition to our primary care service, we'll offer post-acute care, in which we'll follow up with the patient, with a nurse practitioner and or a family medicine physician, or have the nurse practitioner there and a family medicine physician there via video conferencing, via telehealth link. For those who have been discharged from a hospital, from an inpatient rehabilitation stay, or a skilled nursing facility or nursing home, to make sure that we are properly, to make sure their care as they transition to the home from a hospital or a skilled nursing facility, that their health is properly is managed properly to avoid those hospital readmissions, and urgent care as well, to take care of their urgent and emergent health care needs. And as it relates to COVID-19, in our feature service offerings, specialty care, behavioral health, psychiatry, all offered at the done at the patient's home and place of residence. As it relates to COVID-19, being able to track and test and care for those patients directly into their home to reduce exposure and to mitigate and isolate, especially for those asymptomatic patients, mild and even moderate cases, and add the healthcare entities, the hospitals, the health systems to focus on the most high acuity patients. We are
thank you. Thank you very much. 3 minutes.
Thank you.
So, David, can you tell me what's innovative about this? This looks like a good home care service.
Well, what's innovative about it is that when your traditional home care companies, or let's say your home health companies or your traditional house call companies, they do one service, whether it be primary care or urgent care. But there's no other company that combines both the primary care and urgent care, in addition to the post-acute care after they come back from the hospital, eventually the home health and the skilled nursing care, to create a coordinated, comprehensive coordinated, system of care, directly into the home. And that includes also the specialties as well, such as when we add podiatry, optometry, and audiology as well.
So you're saying you do care coordination for the full spectrum of care for...
Exactly, covering the full continuum and spectrum of care.
I was on the
and
web,
that's something that's just not done.
I was on the website and I saw that you're in a number of states and things like that. So how many you're operating already in And
no, we our plan launches July 1st, and I would say right now our immediate need is is customer specifically, partnerships with health, with health systems, with insurers, and also $25,000 for it to cover, capital investment to cover upfront costs to start. And we will start in the Central Virginia, in the Richmond metropolitan area.
Okay. All right. So, are there questions from the judges?
No.
Okay. So this happens sometimes, and I think we should just move on to the next presentation. Thank you, David. And judges, please take a moment to write down your thoughts. I see we have a hard stop for some of our folks, so I think we should just move along.
Okay.
So next up is
Alert G.
Alert G, one of our favorite companies. Is Ripon still here? Yes, he is. Mark, can you turn on your camera? Get your stuff going there. Mark, are you in the hyperbaric chamber?
No, you just have to unmute it.
Oh, that's a good thing.
All right, so do you want me to do the PowerPoint from my thing or what?
That's up to you. But you can, Pat can drive and you can just say next.
Yeah, wants it.
Pat's got it up. You can share his screen or you can share your screen, whoever's faster. So
All right, can you see the screen now? Or
that's another one of our portfolio companies, really doing great. So yes, we can see your screen, Mark.
All right.
Take it away.
All right. My name is Mark Ripon, and I'm the founder and CEO of LRG. We started the company because my wife almost went into a diabetic coma, and I decided to do something about it. I did a bunch of research, and I found that dielectric spectroscopy was the best approach. And I took technologies I developed in universities, and I applied some things that I developed for the government, and came up with a wristband that actually works to measure glucose. As I was doing the research on it, I also found out that it was another application for the spectroscopy was mad cow disease. And then when this challenge came up, I said, I wonder if it could do other things like viruses, because mad cow's prions, and prions even more difficult to see than viruses. So I did a real quick search, and I almost fell on my ass because, excuse my French, I never realized the amount of research has been already done in this area, and that this is really a great application to even further reduce the cost. And if it's possible, we have a system that's a benchtop system that should work fine for normal types of samples. We may actually also be able to develop a wearable device that could also be used to, when people go into quarantine, to verify that they're, what their state is, and also a bunch of other things that I didn't even think about that some doctors are telling me about right now. The present technologies are very limited to labs, and some of them are very expensive, and some others they're just difficult to use. You have to have lab techs that do it and everything else. The technologies, this is just scratching the surface of publications in scientific literature, some of it even sponsored by NIH, of all different kinds of viruses. And the results are, basically that it works as accurate as anything else out there. It's lower cost, it's faster, it's both selective and sensitive. This shows you the using it for HIV and cat version of that. Mad cow, as I was saying, it's been proven to be 100% for specificity and sensitivity, beating the immunoassays that they were using before. It can be used for all these other various and demonstrated in the literature as being effective in being able to pick these things up. You can actually also pick up, one of the viruses that are airborne, which is the RSV virus. So, I mean, I couldn't believe this application, that all these applications and the timeliness now because of the corona epidemic, that we may be able to bring something out there that could be very inexpensive and could be something
30 more seconds.
So why us? Why should we do this? Well, we already know what we're doing. We've got a principal investigator, Dr. James Hartman, who's a leading virologist who can be our PI. And basically what we're going to do is just take what we have and apply it to this problem. And so are we going to raise money now to do this study? We're going to recruit the clinical partners because we don't have a level 4 bio facility, and basically, make it happen like we did with the diabetes project. And we have everything we need, and we have a proven track record. So we are going to stay focused also on the glucose, but at the same time, this is just another application for our technology.
That's great, Mark. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Since people are running out of time, I think we're gonna forego the Q&A on time basis. Mark's not really competing here. We already invested in him 2-3 times now. So we're very excited about everything this platform is capable of and what you're doing. So are there any questions from the audience or the panelists or even other entrepreneurs? A number of our judges had to step out. Okay, so let's move on to the last presentation, correct?
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah, that was it.
That was it. Okay, look at that, we're done. Very cool. So judges, if you'll, and everybody who's been playing the game at home, if you will finish up your applications and your judging forms and submit, I'll be running the data. So I would say, can we promote everybody who's here into the discussion group?
Yeah, put
Okay.
everybody on
Okay,
camera.
so Pat's going to put everybody into the panel, into the conversation, because this has been a rather long virtual event, and we all have a lot of stuff to do. I think I went through the dinner hour. Just a show of hands, or put it in the chat box. We're going to do this again for the next 3 weeks. Should we do it earlier in the day, later in the day? Usually we run our events from 6 to 9 p.m. So after people have dinner and they've got time to relax or whatever.
But since there's so many different time zones.
Yeah, we've got all these different time zones and what have you. So, of course, Barcelona says earlier. Yes, I know. We tried to, balance that so that you wouldn't have to stay up till midnight, but I guess you did. So, Aline, so are you ready to lead a discussion on COVID best practices, or should we just do another dance break? Aline?
If anybody in the promoted, raise your hand.
Well, no, they can all join the discussion so we can hear them. Oh, you mean
the attendees? If they could
well,
raise their
definitely
hand.
Dr. Abad would be great to hear from her, especially since she likes me humor. Yeah, I'm not picking favorites, but you should unmute everybody. And Aline, have you prepared a list of questions or thoughts?
No, because I was not aware that I was moderating.
I'm always gonna tag you on this kind of thing.
No, I think it would be interesting if things are changing very fast. I can see it here in Spain, and I thought last week the discussion was very interesting because you guys in the US are a bit behind us. So it would be interesting to hear like things that you've learned this week. The entrepreneurs here, the doctors. How do you see things evolving, like the use of technology?
All right, Sunita? Anyone?
Yes, I can comment quickly on that. It's how do I explain? It's like I work in basically my battle right now is to just trying to figure out how to deal with sick patients. And can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. How to deal with sick patients, code, advanced directives, just dealing with very, very vital, like really sick patients. That's what we're dealing with right now. Dealing with deaths, a lot of deaths. And so that's why I can tell, we are okay right now with, I guess we are okay to, get tests. Maybe that's why we have so many number of positive cases, is that at least we are keeping up or trying to test as many people as we can, especially in hospital setup or in a nursing home or long-term care facility. At least we're able to do that more than last week. So that's why we have so many number of new cases. But then it's like, as we can see in the curve, like I think Spain is like this and ours is like this. It's straight ahead, straight up, the increasing number of cases, and then we're gonna start seeing a lot of deaths, I think, in coming week. So it's pretty grim on what I see right now. We're not really having any. I don't think we're good about checking antibodies yet. I don't think I know FDA has approved it, but I don't think it's practical right now. I think the majority of resources are going to be for ventilators, high flow nasal cannula, trying to figure out morgues, dead bodies. I think that's where we are at right now. It's pretty grim. It's very grim.
Well, I think, you were talking about the tests, that you're doing a lot of tests and the numbers are going up. Here in Spain, we're not doing tests. So maybe that's why the curve is not so high, Maybe
Do you think so? I was hoping that in Spain the number of cases are. I know it's increasing, but do you think Spain is at the peak yet, or is still? We think we're still 2 weeks behind, 2 weeks away from the peak.
I think we're getting at the peak. Even in France, I'm French, so I'm maybe following more like what's happening in France. And the numbers, they're looking at the numbers of people going to ICU, and this is starting to decrease. So they think that we're at the peak in France. Mm-hmm. Here, the numbers are still high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the confinement is working for sure.
Yeah, I think in our situation, it's mostly this week or the next 2 weeks or so will be more of, how, like, I think this week New York City is pretty much running out of ventilators. And I think from this point is when we're going to see a lot more deaths. And because, now you have to decide who to keep, who to not keep. And like we used to hear from Europe, we're going to be that in this week.
Yeah, this is pretty scary. Yeah.
Yeah, it is scary.
So maybe,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go. I wanted to ask.
Okay, so I have a question for you, Sunita. So that
sure.
I'm now running a group on Facebook for volunteers, and like till last week it was like just for fun. They were like just for fun printing some face masks and stuff like that. But this week it has become like really serious, because a lot of our volunteers are from the US and many are from New York. So how you see that how the volunteering is working? And some of our volunteers are working on the ventilators. They're like working with the hospitals, and some have even given few ventilators to hospitals. So how is it working, and how you feel that the volunteering should work?
Oh, I'm not sure about, I haven't seen in particular any volunteers from any like specific place like that, but I think volunteering wise, actually it's such a good thing. It's a coincidence. Actually, I just got an email from my administrator that a doctor from NYU Langone is interested to come and volunteer at my facility, which is amazing. It's a coincidence. But other than that, other volunteers how they could help in New York City, I think, like, what is their skill? I think it depends on what their skills are.
Many of our volunteers are like into technology, so they're like using their 3D printers and stuff like that to make masks and face shields, and some are even making some parts for ventilators, some spare parts.
Yeah, so if that's the case, I think that's the biggest need is the PPE. That the biggest need right now in New York City is PPE and ventilators and high flow nasal cannula oxygen, which is a concentrator, which kind of like helps in supporting very sick patients, very similar to ventilator, but not invasive, but at least it gives a very high flow of oxygen. And then in terms of technology, right? Yeah, I think masks, gloves, I think that's the highest need in terms of healthcare workers. And in terms of patients, ventilators and nasal cannula and like I think, like a lot of space will be needed to keep, there will be still a lot of surge of cases in New York City next 2 weeks. So the hospitals will be flooded. They're already flooded, and that's why there will be overflow and space is needed. I don't know. I mean, I know city is working on it, but I think those are the 3 dire needs right now.
And one more question: are you like using CPAP units to treat patients? Because some of the doctors in Vermont were using them because they were out of ventilators.
There is a little bit of debate about this. I talked to some critical care attendings or physicians in Mount Sinai and some other places, and I think the experience in Europe or China has been is that if it's an open circuit system like CPAP or a BiPAP, there's more likelihood that there is more exposure of aerosolization and exposure to other, like the unit or just chances of increasing aerosolization, which is not good, right? Basically,
Some of our volunteers have designed such CPAP systems using the snorkeling masks where it doesn't get aerosolized.
That's good. I think that would be good. I think at this time, the ideal thing would be to intubate, ventilate in a closed circuit. The other best option is high flow nasal cannula or a concentrator. The other option is having some form of pressured oxygen, but in a very closed circuit so that there is decreased aerosolization.
Yeah, correct. Thank you. I'll send you an email so that I'd write all this stuff because I'm currently coordinating with the volunteers, so I can like get to them all the information, some of the insights. Sure.
Okay, so we've got a question in the chat. So what treatments, medication are being used for COVID-19 patient at the moment? So I will let the experts answer that, but from experience from Europe, seems like every country is using with different treatments. Like every hospital is trying things. It doesn't seem to be like a rule, or treatment that works. There was a treatment that was used in France. So 2 like drugs used together. I know in Spain they've been using it as well, and also using one of them in the patient who've been in contact with a positive patient to try to stop the spread and people not to be sick. But there's some controversy around that because there was also like 3 people who died after that. So yeah, there's not from Europe, there's not like a straight answer. So I don't know, maybe Sanita or others, if you have answers about that, like the treatment, medication being used at the moment.
Well, I mean, you pretty much said this similar, like that's basically the summary of it, is that we don't know what works, what doesn't work. A lot of it is ultimately supportive treatment, and that's why, like 80% people still do okay with mild symptoms, but some of them who have underlying illness or medical problems become so sick that they'll need ventilator or they'll need like high flow oxygen to support them through this. So these are still the major things. The other things that we are using right now is hydroxychloroquine or Plaquenil, which is basically an used to be an anti-inflammatory agent that was used in malaria, used in rheumatoid arthritis, SLE. It has some background, like in terms of how it could work in coronavirus, like against preventing the binding of the receptors of the virus to the actual cells, and that's why there is a hope that it may work. And there are some articles on New York NEJM and some studies that have come out from China that it decreased the number of virus by a significant amount in day 7 or day 10, and some of them did well. But in US, it happened. I mean, this came in such a way that people didn't expect it would happen, and then it suddenly happened, and then people started using it, and then there was they completely stopped. They said don't use it for some time, but then we didn't have anything. So ultimately now it's available. It's restricted, kind of but it's still available, and we are using it. Like my patients, I'm using it on all of them. And it's very hard for me to tell because it's not a randomized controlled trial. All of this will be like an observational thing for now. Hopefully there will be more. Actually, there was a randomized control trial in China that was just released, or it was published yesterday in NEJM. I think it was 60 patients, which is not a huge number. So that's why we don't know a lot. There has been talk about azithromycin. There has been talk about antiviral agent called remdesivir, which is also it is an antiviral specifically, and it is I think that's the one which is quite promising, and it will be done in a properly regulated way. The trial is being conducted by Gilead, so that's something, some hope that it might work. The others are pretty much supportive treatment. And then at Mount Sinai and some big facilities, they have started working on something called plasmapheresis, which is basically using antibodies of people who have recovered from COVID-19, and then they'll ask for volunteers to donate their plasma, and they'll use this in patients who are very sick in the ICU, in ventilator. This is hopeful. It might work, it might not work, but these are all things that are being done right now.
Does someone else want to add to that? Do you have any other doctors here?
What's that? Hey guys, so I actually have the results here. If you guys, I mean, this is sort of like I wouldn't call it a filler panel, but this is an opportunity for people to talk amongst ourselves and ask questions if some of the experts are around. So if you guys want to keep doing that, we can keep doing that. But I know we all have a ton of other things to do other than hang out on a virtual event in my living room and everybody else's living room. So, so show of hands, you guys want to hear who won? Anyone? Anyone? Ferris?
Me.
Okay, so now I excluded our two portfolio teams because we already invested in them, but I will tell you that they did finish among the top three. But just skipping those because it's kind of unfair, and their valuations have skyrocketed in the last year and a half since we invested. What we'd usually call the crowd favorite, which is another way of saying show, meaning you made a good showing, you got some work to do still, is the team from Health Note. So great job. All right. So who's the leader there? And is he still here?
Yep. Health Note is Josh.
Okay, Josh. So great job, Josh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your check will be in the mail. Anyway, so just so you know, what the process is after this is that the top teams go into the finals, which will be in the, I believe, 426. Depends how many applications we go, things like that. So I don't know how many teams we're going to have pitched that day total, but that'll be a chance for you guys to compete the best versus the best. So great job. And Heather will reach out to all the teams and send a due diligence request because we're going to start doing what we do next in the process is picking which teams to consider investing in. So the second place team, very similar name, is Health Mode.
By Dan.
And Dan is still here?
No.
I don't think Dan is still here. We're all busy people. So Health Mode will be reaching out to him. And drum roll, please. Everybody, drum rolls. Okay, we have the dancing portion. This is the audio portion. Okay, sorry. Is Phenomics. So great job, guys. Really great presentation. And are they still here?
Mark does not look like he's here. So now.
Yeah, I think Mark had to go. So I think that's pretty much a wrap, unless anybody wants to keep on talking about COVID best practice.